My name is Derek, and I have 40 years old. I've been a truck driver since I was 25 years old. Throughout my career, I've driven a lot at night, and of course, I've experienced some strange things. I made deliveries for various companies, often having to cross the entire state to make deliveries. One day, I had to cross the entire state to deliver a load of wooden furniture. Much of the journey was through desert roads. The trip would take several hours, and I knew I was running late, so I knew most of the trip would be in the dark because of the characteristics of these desert roads, which are often very straight and empty at night. I could drive a bit faster than usual. Due to this higher speed, when I saw the taillights of a flashing car, I had to slam on the brakes to stop the truck and park behind the car on the desert sand by the side of the road. The car was one of those older models, and its hazard lights were on. I got out of the truck because, after all, I wanted to check if someone needed help. I walked up to the car and knocked on the window. There was no response. I leaned in a bit to look inside the car through the tinted windows. I couldn't see anyone sitting inside. I did the same at all the windows and confirmed that no one was in the car. So I started scanning the dark desert and my surroundings, although I couldn't see farther than about 15 meters in front of me. I was feeling quite charitable that night, so I really wanted to help. I went back to my truck and grabbed a flashlight from the toolbox under the passenger seat. It was one of those tactical flashlights with a light so bright it could hurt your eyes when pointed directly at your face. As soon as I turned on the flashlight, it revealed what seemed to be an abandoned gas station next to the road. Apparently, I hadn't noticed it before. Perhaps I hadn't noticed because the gas station's parking lot was covered in sand and blended with the desert, and I couldn't see the concrete floor of the station clearly. The abandoned building next to the station was old and probably used to be a convenience store in the past. At that moment, it made sense to me that the owner of the car flashing on the side of the road was probably inside the station somewhere. I went to the front door of the station, which was completely broken, and my flashlight illuminated a good part of the place. It was what I thought. It was certainly one of those convenience stores you find at most gas stations. It was no surprise that the store hadn't survived on a road like that, with very little traffic. I shouted, asking if anyone was inside, announcing that I was there to help. I heard some echo in that place, which gave me a bit of a shiver at the moment. Then I heard a sound coming from the other side of the store. It sounded like a shoe rubbing against the concrete floor. That sound was coming from behind some shelves, which must have been filled with drinks or snacks in the past. I shouted again, offering my help if someone needed it. Then I heard a deep, heavy whisper saying something. "Get out!" I understood clearly what the whisper said, but I couldn't understand why that person would say that. I was also hearing heavy breathing from one of the corners of the place. That was enough for me to leave quickly. Walking back to my truck, this is what I heard. I was completely confused for a few seconds. I didn't know if what I was hearing was real or not. I can't explain it properly, but I felt disoriented. I ran back to my truck and called the police because honestly I was too scared to go back inside. The police asked for an exact location, but I didn't know exactly where I was. All I could say is that I was next to an abandoned gas station in the middle of the desert road. They asked me to stay on the phone so I could describe the location better. But suddenly, the car in front of me started and accelerated down the road. I was so disoriented that I hadn't even noticed when the person got into the car. It was very dark, and I was distracted with the call. I ran back to the station to see if there was still someone there while I was still on the phone with the police. I went to the back of the store where I had heard the voice and breathing. I was paralyzed to see a puddle of fresh blood on the floor, and I could only imagine the gruesome details of what had happened there. I told the police on the phone that I had probably just witnessed a crime. Eventually, the police sent several cars to the location. They asked if I had any information that could be useful, car license plate, suspect appearance, and such. All I could say is that the car was old and had a dark color, and I told them that I had heard a male voice telling me to leave, and then I heard a woman screaming as I was leaving the place. There was no body left behind, but I had some theories about what had happened. The police certainly collected some evidence and blood samples, but I couldn't contribute much to the investigation. Unfortunately, I still didn't have a dash cam on my truck, which would have captured the car's license plate. But literally the next week, I bought and installed a camera on my truck's dashboard. That was certainly one of those rare experiences that only happen once in a lifetime, and it will haunt me for a long time. In the video description, there are links to horror and thriller books in case you want to buy. And if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe.